Hello, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Aggro, the podcast with two friends, one film, and very little agreement. I'm Nicky.
And I'm Phil, and we're in our favourite coffee shop with a brew, and we're ready to chat, so welcome.
Yes, welcome to our inaugural podcast. We've been chatting and disagreeing about films for years. This pod could be a therapeutic way of working through our differences, or it could signal the end of a beautiful friendship. Let's see which way it goes.
And for our first podcast, Nicky has chosen the movie that she loves to get us started, and this week she's brought us the 1995 classic film Clueless.
I know that will come soon enough. But first, what on earth are we doing having a podcast, Phil? What's going on? What's this about? Why on earth should we be doing this?
Well, we both watch films, and we both watch different types of films. We always go on about how good our films are without actually seeing the other person's films.
Can I tell you why I think we're doing this podcast?
Go on.
I'll tell you what started it in my head is because I heard you on another podcast, and it was a podcast that was nothing to do with film specifically. It was something else. It was your drone community friends. I heard you, with no hint of irony, describe yourself as a film buff. And I have to take issue with that. And I did take issue with it when I saw you next, because I know you like watching films, but you don't watch any of the films that I think are brilliant. And I don't think you watch any of the directors I think are brilliant. And I just thought, absolutely not, I'm not having that. I'm going to have to pull you up on that. And I did. And you said, this would make a good podcast. We should watch each other's films and talk about them. So that is how it started. Quite organically, quite naturally.
I know you were a bit hesitant towards it.
I just didn't know if the world needed another film podcast, and I still do not have any illusions about the fact that the world does not need another film podcast.
But you always give your opinions upon films, and that's the
you?
thing. Well, to me, yeah.
Privately.
But, you know, everybody has an opinion on something. It just, you know, we're just willing to share it. Simple as that. Yeah,
you did convince me. I do think it's a nice format. So the format basically is we take it in turns to pick a film. And I, as you said, this week I picked Clueless. And you'll tell us in a minute, won't you? But as far as I know, you'd never seen Clueless.
No, I've never seen it before.
And likewise, when there's been films that you've talked about wanting to do that you love and have shaped you and it means everything to you, I often have never seen them in my life.
So you're just as bad as me by not watching some of the great directors that I've seen.
Oh, that's not the issue. The issue is I would never describe myself as a film buff because I'd have humility and know that I couldn't possibly do that having not seen some films.
Well, that's unfortunate for you.
That is the difference between you and me, is I have humility. I think that it's good to get it in now.
So here's a question. So, like, after multiple podcast recordings in the future, would you then describe yourself as a bit of a film buff because you are actually talking about the films?
Good God, as if we could all have the confidence of a guy. Do you know what I mean? It was like this.
Why is it got to be a guy?
Because that is it. It's a straight white man's confidence. People who fail upwards, but they'll always land on their feet. This is, you know, that thing where it's like there's evidence, there's data that show that when you are given a job spec, you read a job spec and it has a list of all the essential qualities and skills that you need to apply, and a list of the desirable skills and qualities that you need to apply. And there has been some evidence, and I've not got the exact specifics with me, but it's something like guys will read down the list of essential. They won't have any. They might have a couple of bits, but they won't have all of them. But they'll apply anyway. Women will read through the list of essential. They might have all of those skills except maybe one and go, oh, well, I can't apply then. Do you know what I mean? It's the confidence thing. And I just think you have the confidence to think your opinion matters.
I have done many a haircut where I just give my opinion regardless. So I think this will be fun. I think this will be fun to do.
It will be fun, and I do think there's something quite nice about. I mean, being forced to watch films, and maybe that doesn't feel nice, but being forced to watch films that I have allowed to let pass me by, that loads of other people have seen. I think it's fair to say the kind of films you enjoy that you will bring to this part are popular mainstream blockbusters.
Yeah, possibly.
And those are a lot of those, certainly from my childhood, those are things I've not really watched. And the things that I tend to bring, not that Clueless particularly fits into this category.
Oh, black and white with subtitles and no plot.
Maybe they are subtitle film, but there'll be things that are a bit more low-key. I'm all about a witty script or a tight script. I'm all about the writing, and that doesn't necessarily always mean that they're massively famous films.
And I like I like the escapism, and that's what I watch films for, is escapism.
It's not.
You know?
I do. I like escapism.
Yeah, but yours are always dark and cold.
No,
and,
they're not. I mean, honestly, I think when we start to actually talk about which films we're bringing each week, mine are still surprisingly famous. You know, people will know them, but, well, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them they'll know. But yeah, I think that is the difference between our film tastes, is you are all about the popular and I'm all about but has it won a Sundance Festival award? You know?
Quite often some of mine do, you just don't look at it.
Well, interesting.
So, shall we get on with the rest of the podcast?
Yeah, let's crack on, let's get into it.
So, why choose Clueless?
Oh, Clueless. So, it's brilliant. I remember watching it for the first time when I was at university in halls of residence, and I'd moved in with a bunch of women who I didn't know. I was very shocked to discover I accidentally ended up in all-female halls, which was never the plan. And it was kind of one of those early bonding things where I remember sitting in my next-door neighbour's bedroom, all piled on a bed, watching it, like a bonding thing when we were all sort of finding our feet, leaving home for the first time. It fits my vibe completely. I love a teen movie, but I love a comedy as well, so it sort of ticks both boxes. It just makes me laugh. I think it's brilliant. I think it's deeper than it appears on first sight, but I've watched it many, many times. I had it on video, and certainly during the late 90s and 2000s I was watching it. Probably haven't seen it for about 10 years, so it was like catching up with an old friend this week whenever you watched it. How about you? Have you seen it before?
Never seen it before.
Oh my goodness me.
I mistakenly thought I owned this. With having two teenage daughters, I thought I owned this. I was wrong, I own Legally Blonde.
Oh, another good film, but very different.
So I thought they were the same movie. So this was the first time viewing, which was interesting.
Oh, well, we'll get your value judgment at the end.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we'll start at the beginning, and the music all the way through is fab.
Yeah,
but
that's one of the plus points.
Straight away, we know that this is a light-hearted, comedic take on a teen film. This is not Pretty in Pink. This is not, I don't know, St. Elmo's Fire, where it's sort of angst-driven. This is fun. This is bright colours. I mean, bright colours, a sort of witty narrative by the main character herself, and great music. It's Kim Wilde's Kids in America, and then David Bowie's Fashion, and it's just in your face straight away. Okay.
The music of this film, as soon as the first scene opens, the music ties the film to the 90s. You can tell it's an instant 90s film. The way the music is, the look of everything, it's tied in. It's not a timeless film where, you know, it could be anywhere. It is certainly set in the 90s and will stay in the 90s.
It definitely is. And it's interesting as well, because I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And
that makes a change.
No, but those two opening songs that we're hit with in that opening scene are not from the 90s. They're from like the 70s and 80s. It's Bowie and it's Kim Wilde. It's fascinating because I had that same thought. Oh, we're in the 90s. But it's the style
of the way the covers are. Yeah.
It is. And we hear our main character, Cher, who's played by Alicia Silverstone, and she does a voiceover. And she basically very quickly explains who she is, who she lives with, what's going on. And she does it in such a light touch way that I do not mind at all. But that is I often think having a character narrate stuff at the beginning is a lazy way to tell you who's who. It's a lazy way to do exposition. But she does it so lightly and humorlessly. That's not a word. She does it with humour.
I think Nicky's making words up on the podcast.
That's your trick, usually.
I think next week I'm going to bring the Oxford English dictionary just to check on your words. It's usually me.
It is usually you, to be fair, so I'm not having that. She does it with loads of humour, so I will forgive the narrate. I forgive it. I think it works really well with this film. And so we quickly learn she's rich, popular, fashion obsessed, shallow, superficial teenager living in Beverly Hills, and her life oozes entitlement. There's just no getting away from it. She's really privileged.
Yes, you can see that straight away from the wardrobe, the house.
Yeah. She lives in a massive house with her dad.
Yeah.
Dan Hedaya.
Angry dad. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. We might debate the dad. It's Dan Hedaya, who I definitely gets cast in films where he is a grumpy, angry, tough guy person. But there's something quite sweet about him in this. He barks, and he's a workaholic. He's always at his desk. He's always like on the phone. He's dealing with stuff. He's a lawyer, and yeah, he's a concerned dad. He asks her how school was. He says, you know, what he talks about her report card. He's clearly been a father to her, and we learn her mum died years ago in what was described as a freak liposuction accident.
Right.
So it's like, again, there's humour here. We don't need to worry about the fact that her mum died. I think it's all fine. But what we do know from everything about this film is it's based on Jane Austen's Emma. Now, did you ever read Jane Austen's Emma? I'm laughing as I say it because I know Phil doesn't read many books.
Who's Jane Austen?
Exactly. I knew.
I knew it was based on a book, an older book.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether it was going to be, knowing you, something to do with Shakespeare or something like that. But I didn't research anything about the film. I just went into it blind.
That's fine.
But I can recall it being based on an older book.
So it's Jane Austen's Emma, and the thing is, I've only ever read Pride and Prejudice. I think I'd started Sense and Sensibility once, but anyway, I'd never read Emma. But I started to read it this week for this podcast. So please be wowed at my commitment. I've only done like the beginning. But what's interesting is...
You read the back of the book?
No, I reckon I've read about 4 pages. But it's free to download on a Kindle. It's free. I think Classics must be free. So I have no problem giving Jeff Bezos free money. No money, even. Yeah. But what I found when I looked at Wikipedia for the book Emma, and I just found this really interesting. So this is a direct quote from Wiki at the moment. Before she began the novel, Austen wrote, "I am going to take a heroine whom no one but myself will much like." And then, this is not the quote from Austen, in the first sentence, she introduces the title character by stating, "Emma Woodhouse, handsome, clever and rich, with a comfortable home and a happy disposition, seemed to unite some of the best blessings of existence, and had nearly 21 years in the world with very little to distress or vex her." And that felt like, oh yeah, you can see how that's taken as a blueprint for
I can totally see that. Yeah. It just rings true of what you said there.
So I really enjoyed seeing that. Going, okay, I get why that's been a nice starting point as a character for this story. But this is the 1995 remake, not the 1815 book, and we've got it's a high school movie, which, as I said before, is my favourite genre. So Cher is best mates with Dion, who's going out with Murray, and the quote is, "She's my friend because we both know what it's like to have people be jealous of us." So again, every little line is gold, I think.
So yeah, I mean, there's great lines within the movie, but when you're introduced to these people, right, and obviously I might be jumping ahead a little bit to go into the high school and stuff like that. The first thing I wrote down was, are we supposed to like these people? Because
that's a question I was going to ask you at the end.
I had an issue.
Okay.
So we will digress more towards the end.
The film and
we'll talk more at the end. But that was my first thing I seen was, am I supposed to like these people?
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, we will definitely come back to that because that is the fundamental question, and I assume it would have been the fundamental question in Emma as well. I don't
Possibly.
know.
I've just picked up on your 4-page reading and your wiki quote that could be wrote by anybody.
Exactly. I know it all.
I just picked up on that, and that was the first thing I wrote in my notes.
Okay, so we see Cher in class. She's marked down on her report card by Mr. Hall, who's played by Wallace Shawn, who does a really good job.
So I come across him from Star Trek, and he is Rex, the dinosaur in Toy Story.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I know everyone talks about him being in The Princess Bride, but I've never seen The Princess Bride. I feel bad that I should have seen that one.
I've just added the film to our list.
Okay, yeah. I feel like I want to see it, but talking about it would be good. So this is a good one for the card. Anyway, she gets marked down, and she's really I don't know if she's annoyed at her own lack of ability or annoyed at the teacher who's marked her down. She tries to argue out of it, she can't. She does sort of everything within her power. But then she decides the best way of raising her grade is to bring joy to his life, make him smilier and give her better grades, and so finding him a partner. So she sets upon this matchmaking project for Mr. Hall, and she is somebody who loves a project, as I believe Emma does too, but I'm going to forget to talk about Emma now because I just don't have the chops to back it up.
4-page, reading.
I think the story is loosely based, but there's an element of this as well. Emma does too. So she loves this. She loves a project. She loves being busy. She likes to meddle in other people's lives, but she thinks she's doing the right thing. She means well. So she sort of sets her sights on who can be partner for Mr. Hall, and she spots Miss Geist. And what I found funny about these two was I looked at the IMDb information. So Wallace Shawn, when he played Mr. Hall, he was 52, and the teacher Miss Geist is played by Twin Kaplan. She was 48, and they are depicted by Cher and her friends as ancient.
Yeah, you can see that, because when you're in school, you think all the teachers are like well old, and they're just generally in their late 30s, early 40s.
I know, but it just makes me laugh. But these are like this elderly couple who are kind of being cute together while they kind of be pushed together, and yet they're just they're not pretty much our age, but you know.
The scene where I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but the scene where they decide that she should get with him. They virtually physically assault her by taking her glasses off, mess her hair up and things like that.
When Miss Geist is in the staff room.
I was a bit like, what's going on here? You could imagine 6 weeks detention for doing that.
So but Cher loves a project, and then another project comes along because we have a new girl who starts school called Ty.
Yes.
She's played by Brittany Murphy, and Cher feels sorry for her. She doesn't, sometimes you see that scene in a high school movie or a high school TV show where the new person starts and you immediately realise, oh my god, they're going to get bullied. They stand at the front of the class and the teacher goes, oh, this is such and such a body, and your heart sinks a bit because you feel like, oh, they're just being dropped into this absolute awful. It's not like that for Ty. I mean, she's new and she looks a bit kind of, nervous, but Cher immediately feels sorry for her. She goes, oh, well, she makes a play to kind of help her. Cher means well, I believe, in all of this. But the reason she feels sorry for her is because her clothes are so terrible. She has no taste. She's clueless. Cher wants to help her. She wants to take her under her wing, and she wants to make her be the best person she can be as far as Cher is concerned. Unlike the character Amber, who says she could be a farmer in those clothes to under her breath. That was the bitchy thing to say. Yeah. Cher is not bitchy here, even though she absolutely sounds like she is. She means well.
Yeah. So one thing I picked up on throughout the movie is the costumes were really, really good. Very 90s, I will say.
Absolutely.
It would be hard with the dad later on in the movie. He criticises some clothing, and
when Cher's going out and he doesn't think she's dressed enough.
Yeah, and then she puts in a completely see-through top over the top of what she's inappropriate with. Yeah. But if he had an issue with what she wore in that scene, wouldn't he have an issue with what she was wearing to school? She had knee-high, virtually stockings and a short skirt on every day for school. Now, don't get me wrong, it looked great, and it looked great for the film, but in terms of how the dad character was, he had an issue with her wearing this dress, and then you look at it every single day going to school and he's not noticing that.
I think maybe the clothes that she goes to school in would not be considered sexy, even if they're short, because they're kind of like, I think her opening scene is like yellow and black tartan and stuff, whereas when she's going out on the date, she's wearing a kind of shiny, short, strappy dress.
But it's not just yellow and black tartan, it's with like knee-high stockings, basically.
No, they were over-knee socks. If you were around in the 90s, you would remember over-knee socks.
Yeah, nearly.
I think you're.
But the costumes were great.
Yeah, the fashions.
Well, I think this is the problem I have with coming at this movie from the age I am now, and the time period I am now, is her costume that she wore, that opening scene, has now been sexualized in terms of fancy dress, because I've seen it so many times, and maybe that's part of the issue.
I just think she was wearing clothes that someone who's really into fashion and has lots of money would wear in the 90s. I didn't find it sexy, but I didn't feel like she was wearing them to be sexy either, which again, sexy stuff is about the intention, I think. If you intend to be sexy, then you can wear a binning bag and you can be sexy if you sort of vamp it up a bit. Yeah. But I think that she's not intending to be sexy. She's going to school, she's wearing like the outfit. Anyway, we digress. This is a debate that people can carry on in their own time.
Put it down in the comments below.
But what made me laugh, and I do remember this, I suppose it would have been about 96, 97 I watched this for the first time. I remember feeling it then, and I still feel it now, and that's like, 30 years difference. Ty, the new girl, wears clothes that I would wear, that I wore then and I wear now. As in baggy shirts, baggy tops, nothing particularly feminine, jeans, and I'm like, it does make me laugh because I am the Ty, and I guess most people would be the Ty at well, maybe not. I feel like Ty is all of us and Cher is not like us, but then there'll be people that feel like Cher, and maybe I identify with Cher, who knows. But it did make me laugh that my fashion sense has not changed in 30 years. Then we get the scene that is every single high school film, and I absolutely love it, because if it wasn't there, I'd be crossed, even though it has become such a trope. It's a trope that's essential for this style of film, and that is somebody who's been at the school for a long time walks the new person through and explains all the cliques.
Yeah.
Love that scene.
Yeah, I've seen that so many times.
It's essential though for a teen movie. It would be like a missing leg if it was not there.
I mean, it was like one of my favourite versions of this sort of scene was in, I think it was 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Where he's going, oh, there's the nerds, there's this, there's that, and then it's, what the F are they? What the F are they? Because they're like the fish out of water, and they, you know, obviously there's so many different genres of kids that are in now and stuff. So yeah, it's the typical high school scene, perfect. Just to show you who's who and put you in order. Great exposition.
There's a dissertation to be written here on high school movies, and what you should do, somebody should do who has the time, is to take that scene from all of the films across history, like from Grease, from Ferris Bueller, from 10 Things I Hate About You, from this. Take that scene and analyse how the cliques and subcultures within the school society reflect the American political, socio-cultural situation of the time, whether it's like, well, Grease was made in the 70s, but it's meant to be the 50s, and then you've got the 80s stuff, you've got 90s. Booksmart, I think, did it, and that was like the 2010s.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Such a good thing to investigate.
It'd be interesting to see in another few years with the current political climate of America how that will be structured in the, because there will be teen movies where it does happen.
Yeah, I just think it's always going to have
here's
to be
the
there,
libs,
but it'll
here's
always
the maggers, here's this,
it'll
here's
always
that.
change depending on what's going on. I find it fascinating. So Ty, who is supposedly clueless in fashion and life, according to Cher, she strikes up an immediate connection with Travis, who's a sweet skater boy in class. He's like a bit of a puppy dog. He's always late. He does a really funny speech when he's late. He gets a tardy from Mr. Hall, and he does a speech thanking everyone who made him late that day, and it's very funny. So Ty isn't clueless in any way, because she is being normal, she's being herself, she's being natural. She chats to him in the dinner queue about Marvin the Martian. I didn't know what that was. I'm guessing it's some cartoon thing or something back in the day. She can make friends easily on her own. She's attracted a boy, you know, but this is not good enough for Cher, because Travis is the wrong guy. He's not cool enough.
He's the different level of social.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't meet the grade as far as Cher's concerned. And she starts to try and push her towards Elton, who, I remember at the time finding him smarmy before anything happens with him. He's just smarmy.
Literally the opening shot of Elton, you just know he's not going to be a good one.
Nah. So she's pushing him towards her. Ty's not at all interested, but that's fine. The other thing I've only ever heard, and this is another, I should Google this. What I really like about high school films is they create their own cultures. So what I need to know is, does the term tardy, as in a kind of, you know, written up a little bit of paper or a kind of a black mark against your name when you're late, did that exist before Back to the Future? Is it a thing in American high schools?
I would imagine so, because Back to the Future, they tried to be historically accurate within, you know.
What I like is sometimes you see there's a culture within a culture. So is it that in Clueless they referred to a tardy because it was referred to in another film, but actually it doesn't exist in real life? I'd love that. I don't know, it's strange. And then we have another trope that is, again, I welcome it here. I don't always welcome it, but it's the makeover montage. I love these
moments.
No, I love these things. This is what makes it feels like it's done so knowingly and so joyfully and wittily. It adds to the story, and it is. I mean, it does add to the story because she's literally been made over from being like skater girl, baggy shirt around her waist, jeans, to being high fashion, you know, perfect hair, everything that Cher teaches her to do. So we see that. Cher agrees to go to a party in the valley. I'm guessing that's far away from where they live, the way they talk about it. So she can engineer Ty and Elton getting together. It doesn't work out so well. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens at this party, but they end up having to go. Elton gives Cher a lift, and he tries to kiss her.
Through an argument, because Cher was trying to manipulate it so he had to take Ty home, and Ty...
Yeah, Cher wanted Elton and Ty to be
so
together.
it's Elton, sorry, just got confused there. So yeah, wanted Elton and Ty to go together, and Elton was making every excuse under the sun not to take Ty and to take Cher home.
Because he likes Cher, basically. Yeah. So he gives her a lift. He tries to kiss her, and he's so gross. I mean, she's in no real peril. I mean, this is not a hard-hitting drama.
This is no Back to the Future scene.
Oh God, no. Well, yeah. He tries to kiss her. She pushes him off. He's a proper dickhead, and this is where we realise he is, because he goes, "Don't you even know who my father is?" So again, it's that entitled privilege. I think he's somebody who uses his entitlement and privilege takes it for granted, doesn't use it well. I wouldn't say you can say the same for Cher. I think she's slightly more self-aware. Anyway, we'll talk about that at the end. But he leaves her, he drives off, and she gets mugged.
Yeah,
it's another comedy scene.
That was a bit of a shocker. I hated that Elton left her in the middle of nowhere. Because of obviously imperiled danger, but like literally 2 seconds after he drives off, she's in the middle of nowhere, and 2 seconds later there's a gun pointed at her head. I'm like, where's this guy come from?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not a nice scene at all.
Well, I think it's funny. The real life version of that is awful. So that's it. But you know, the whole thing, she gets held up at gunpoint, and he tells her to get on her knees, and she's like, "Oh, this dress isn't a liar." You know, and it's
Am I meant to be bothered about that?
Yeah, it's done lightly, and I think, you know, the point is made that she's stranded, and she needs to get help.
So she rings Josh.
She rings Josh, who is
Paul Rudd.
Oh, he is Paul Rudd. I was going to say he is her. He was her stepbrother for a short time back in the day because her dad was married to his mum, and they're no longer married. But it is Paul Rudd. And you
very, very young
You
Paul
never
Rudd.
forget your first Rudd. This was my first Rudd.
So obviously there's a common meme around at the moment of Paul Rudd never ages.
Yeah.
So I've never seen this generation of Paul Rudd. So I do think he has aged.
Yeah.
You know,
but not massively.
No, I think he's still a fairly young-looking guy.
Yeah.
You know, is he in his 50s now?
Yeah, he's older than you.
And he doesn't look in his 50s. But yeah, he because it took me a while to go, is this actually Paul Rudd? And so it's very, very young in this.
But what makes me laugh when I see this now, and I guess this is just, again, this is like historic kind of flashback. Her phone's gone, she's stranded, she has to go to a payphone. And she has to ring her brother's number. Oh, sorry, her stepbrother's number. Let's stop calling him brother.
Yeah.
Her ex-stepbrother's number. Do you know any phone numbers in your head?
No, but this is the 90s.
No, I know. What my point is. I know then.
Yeah.
I knew them in the 90s. I'm talking about now. Do you know any in your head now?
I know my aunties.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because I'm her emergency.
So you can ring her from a phone box now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I could do.
I don't know any. It's a nightmare. It just made me go, oh my God, what would I do in that situation? The only one I knew that was still in use was my best mate from school and teenage years, parents' landline, but they're no longer with us, and that house is getting sold now, and I don't know any other landlines.
Do you not know your partners?
Nope.
No, I know my partners.
Handy.
So basically, if Elton leaves you in the middle of the Ventry car park, you are screwed.
Absolutely screwed, and I'm not even wearing an Elia.
Yeah.
Okay, so she rings Paul Rudd, and he turns up, and you know
every time
he's clearly a reliable guy in her life, you know, and they have this tension, they have this kind of bickery, almost sibling banter stuff going on, where they don't particularly get on. He thinks she's an airhead, and she thinks he's just too like earnest and serious and like cool. He's a student,
and
he's
he
a
wants
few years
to
older.
save the planet.
Yeah, it's like everything. I know. And now it'd be like, oh, it's all about oat milk and you know, whatever. I think she call him granola breath, as in like somebody who eats healthily. I think basically. And he's obviously presumably on a date or with his girlfriend because he brings her too, and that must be fun for her. But there's a really funny moment where the girlfriend is talking, again, very earnestly. We're not supposed to like this woman, earnestly about Hamlet, and says, you know, it's like Hamlet says, in my to thy own self be true. And Cher's like, well, actually, no, because I watched the Mel Gibson film and it's Polonius that says it. And she's spot on, it is Polonius that says to thine own self be true. I think the girlfriend was talking about Hamlet, the play, rather than the character Hamlet, so I can see why she said it. But yeah, I love how Cher just puts her down. And we see Paul Rudd, we see Josh have a little smile that, like, Cher's sort of just shut down his slightly too earnest girlfriend. It's in the moment that shows that there is a thawing of hostility between them.
Yeah, you see it thaw throughout the movie.
Yeah.
He takes the date up to the steps and then kisses her, and you see Cher go, ugh.
Yeah.
You know,
because who wants to see their brother kiss?
Yeah.
I've got to stop calling him brother.
Yeah, because this podcast could go down a whole new route.
Honestly, well, the internet has already gone down a whole new route with this plot, but we'll talk about that at the end as well. So, Cher continues to push Mr. Hall and Miss Geist together, they're getting on well, and she also continues to help Ty become less clueless and one of the popular people. But while she's doing that, she's neglecting her own love life. So she sets her sights on a boy in her class who's sort of there part-time because of his split custody with his parents thing, and he's called Christian. he's super stylish and cool and aloof. So she considers him exactly the right person that she should be seen with. And at the time of watching it, Christian, oh my God, the vibes he gave off with my first serious boyfriend, who I would have been with 2 years before I saw this film. The aloofness and the idea that he's so like cooler than everyone else was so like this guy I went out with it. It still makes me laugh now because it's not cool.
Yeah, I
cool.
didn't take to this character one bit.
And I don't think we were meant to particularly.
I just thought he comes across as a bit of an arsehole.
And the point is, she doesn't actually have feelings for him. She just sees him as someone who's the right sort of person to be with.
It's just a toy. It's just a toy
to
be with, to be seen in public.
Yeah,
it's just a bit of a toy.
I don't think she wants to play with it.
No.
She wants to be seen to be with the right sort of person in her social circle.
Very superficial.
He's very superficial. But also when then we find out that he's gay, she's not too bothered. She's like, oh, we can be friends then.
Yeah,
and that,
the shopping vibes of the gave it
well,
away.
I know. But equally, what I like is there was no negative side in the 90s. There's no negative side to this character being gay. He just is gay, and she's like, okay, well, they continue to be friends afterwards. So I kind of like that. It's kind of positive representation, even though it might be still slightly tokenistic and slightly stereotypical.
Very.
A little bit, yeah. Anyway, but she goes on a date with Christian, which is when, I think that's when she's wearing the very shiny small dress that her dad says, put something on, so she puts a see-through shiny top on.
Over it, yeah. So you can still see everything exactly funny. As it was before.
And I love how her dad, this is where I think the dad is a good dad, because before, I hate overprotective parents, and I don't think he's overprotective, because he doesn't, like, he's not on top of all she's doing all the time. But before she goes out with him, with Christian, he does say, I've got a 45 and a shovel, I doubt anyone would miss you, which I think is quite a funny line.
I think
he's got great lines down the day.
I think that was the first time it raised a little bit of a smile, that line, within the movie.
Oh, you miserable thing. Anyway, so they go to this party. This is before we found out that they're not going to be together forever. But Josh, the ex-stepbrother, turns up, and he's just having fun. He dances with Ty for a bit. He drives Cher and Ty home at the end. Cher and Josh talk. He stays with her and her dad for spring break, and they're getting on okay. They're just, there's no outright hostility. So anyway, then later Cher does try to seduce Christian, works it out, they become friends. Cher continues to be a good support for Dion, her best mate, because Dion is hoping to move her virginity from technical to non-existent.
Okay.
So she's a good friend during that.
So can I just interrupt here slightly? So the first time I did actually fully laugh in the movie was with Cher and Christian when they were on the bed and she fell off the bed. Now, you could see it coming a mile off and stuff. She's trying to be ultra cool.
It would be so sexy.
But it did make me laugh a lot. The thing, it just,
It is a comedy, you're allowed to laugh.
I know, but this is the thing, and we'll get to this later on. It was so signposted that this was going to happen. She was obviously going to fall off the bed trying to be cool. But it made me laugh regardless. Yeah.
And it just, it's when she's getting ready and she's like, you have to show a bit of skin because that makes boys think of sex.
Yeah.
It makes boys think of being naked and that makes them think of sex. It's like this real calculated way, there's no feelings here. Anyway, so Ty, on the other hand, is getting more and more popular, so the makeover stuff is working, She's ditched the grungy clothes and she looks and dresses loads more like Cher. She also has like a gaggle of fans around her all the time, boys hanging on her every word. And Cher's makeover work is done. But the trouble is Ty is becoming a bit of a dick. She's not being particularly kind, she's being quite bitchy. She's now thinks that she's better than the people, which is a shame because she was so nice. And Cher's life, while we see Ty's rising in terms of popularity, her life is going less well. She fails a driving test. Yeah,
so it's a huge issue here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, hitting cars while going into the driving test, not looking where she's going. I mean, come on.
It's a comedy. It's comedic. It's overblown for comic effect. I think we can accept this. None of this is realistic, I think we need to accept that.
Again, it was making me start to think, am I in this to want this person to achieve or not? Because they just keep messing up what they're doing.
They're a bit hapless. Cher is a bit hapless.
A bit clueless.
Exactly. Oh, you've got the point of the film. Marvellous. Anyway, she fails the driving test. She can't argue her way out of it. She manages to argue her way out all the time. Like her dad's a lawyer, has taught her, you do something about it. She can't argue her way out of it. And to top it all, Ty tells her she's found someone she likes, but it's Josh, ex-stepbrother Josh. And Cher's reaction surprises her. She is not happy about it. She's like, no, not Josh, it can't be him, no. And she's fuming and gutted and doesn't understand why. So Ty, obviously, is pissed off that Cher suddenly told her what she can and can't do, after being told what she can and can't do a lot up until this point. She tells Cher a few home truths and they have a falling out. And Cher is in a spin, and the line is, she feels wretched.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what's going on. She's not her sunny, bright, superficial self. She's feeling things. And she doesn't know what it is. And she goes for a walk and she tries to go shopping and she tries to distract herself and nothing works. But eventually the answer comes to her. She likes Josh.
Yeah, I mean, the payoff wasn't there for me.
Did you know that she was going to like Josh?
Well, it was kind of like hidden, but it was like I had the issue. She didn't change enough. The bit where she realised she liked Josh and then got with Josh, it was too short for me.
Okay.
It was like there needed to be more of a change of character and stuff. And it was like, oh, I went shopping and suddenly, oh, but I'm all right now. I'm a different person. It just felt too rushed.
Like you want this to be like Ben-Hur. This is a hour and a half-ish comedy. I don't think we need to. We just need to be told what we're told about the characters.
but this should have been done about 50 minutes into the movie, and then she changes her journey because
She has changed. You just changed her journey because of this.
She goes shopping once, and then that's it. And
we get the gist that shopping is her thing. We see her in the mall.
I just didn't. For me personally, the payoff didn't work.
Okay.
And I do like my rom-coms, and I do like my teen comedies.
So she feels rubbish, but she doesn't know what to do about it. So in order to cheer herself up, she throws herself into another project. She fundraises for the Pismo Beach disaster.
Yes, that was quite funny. Yeah,
I did do a deep dive on Pismo Beach.
Yeah, it did. You know, for my criticisms, they did have its moments in the movie.
So Pismo Beach is an area in LA, I guess, California, somewhere. I don't know. I did Google. I've seen like Google Maps. I've dragged the little yellow figure onto the thing. It looks beautiful, and it's a little bit further down the beach from where they live, but also there was no disaster. So this was just a funny place to say. I read somewhere that Amy Heckerling, who's the writer and director of this, I read somewhere that she just wanted to make a fun. It's a privileged place, so fundraising for somewhere that's got quite a bit of money. And Cher's giving them skis and stuff. It's just a funny thing. Ultimately, it's not really helping anyone, but she thinks she's doing.
The beach disaster was somebody left an empty Coke bottle on the beach or something like that. Yeah.
It looks gorgeous. I was looking. There's like it's sort of like the vibe of a clam chowder seaside. Oh, it looks lovely. Anyway, but I think it's quite a posh place. But Cher is becoming a changed person. She's even started to support Travis in his skateboarding competition, so that's a change of heart. So Travis is like the kind of lovely, sweet boy who doesn't match up to who Cher thinks boys should be if they're going to date her and be friends with her. She goes and supports him with no reason, no kind of ulterior motive there. She's actually being a good friend. And she's having to rethink a few things that she's always taken for granted. She does make up with Ty at this point. So you do feel like she's been on a journey of personal growth. She's kind of rejigged a few things. She's sort of been humbled. And I think that happened in Emma as well. Reading synopses.
4 pages.
Yeah. But there's always going to be, in any story, there's always going to have to be some sort of problem or challenge that the hero or heroine has to overcome before they get the happy ending. And there's an evening of high stress in her house, her dad's house. There's some case that they've been working on for ages. Cher's been doing some bits and pieces for them on it. They're having to kind of go through all these papers. There's a whole team of lawyers going through all these papers and documents in the house. And it's a critical stage in a case. It's an all-nighter. And Josh is there too, helping out. And another lawyer who's horrible. Horrible man.
Yeah. Cher's job, I will say, in helping the case was to highlight things from September.
Yeah,
quotes and things from September.
It's just like numbers or whatever. But the other lawyer has lost some files, and he blames Cher for losing them. He's horrible. It may have been her fault, we don't know, but the guy's just nasty. He has a go at her, calls her a moron, she's in tears, but Josh defends her immediately.
Straight away.
So they have a sweet moment on the stairs, and they admit feelings for each other, and it's sweet. Because it's poor old Alicia Silverstone. I can see your face is giving misgivings, and we'll talk about the misgivings at the end. But then we get a happy ending, final scene, and it is It's a wedding, and some narration does go, no way, as if she's getting married. It's not. It's Mr. Hall and Miss Geist.
Yeah, but the as if for me wasn't the wedding. It was like, why are the students bridesmaids at the wedding? No, I just didn't buy it.
It's a nice. So we see Mr. Hall and Miss Geist get married. We see Josh and Cher be a couple. We see Dion and Murray together, and we see Ty and Travis together, and that's what they got together as well. And that was the happy ending for everyone. And that was it. So let's begin on the discourse.
Okay, so
spill what's on your mind.
I hated this movie.
Really?
Yes,
Sweet baby Jesus.
I expected to come into it liking it. I really did, because it is kind of up my street. It's like a nice rom-com. It's set in the 90s and things like this. But to me, as I said earlier, I wasn't sure whether we were supposed to be rooting for these or we were against them and stuff. A lot of it was them looking down on people, which I didn't like. It was a bit like, it was like watching Mean Girls, but from the point of view of the plastics. Yeah, so the plastics were the main people of the movie.
don't mansplain plastics to me.
That's what this podcast's about. Obviously, you know, Alicia, Cher and her friends weren't as nasty as the plastics, but they were of that mould, and they were just constantly looking down on people. So obviously the skater boy, you know, he's just not good enough and things. When straight away, when Ty met him, the bond was there. She should have been encouraging that.
Was always sweet.
Yeah, she should have been encouraging that, and it was like, no, he's not good enough. And because they were like high society, they were constantly hitting down. And as we've had discussions in the past, comedy you hit up. This was hitting down.
Oh no, whoa! This was a satire. So this it absolutely was a satire. It really was. The writer did not want to make this be like, this is what all normal people are like. This is what the writer was satirising Beverly Hills 90210, which had come a few years before.
I haven't seen Beverly Hills 90210.
It's this, but it's not funny. It's this where the...
I just want to say, Nicky's face got really angry at this moment.
Well, you've misunderstood the basic thing of this one. No, I do think it's a satire. Of course, it's a satire.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's a comedy, so we're watching it and we're thinking. So, Cher is our hero, our heroine, our hero. Cher is, and at the beginning she has the wrong views, but she means well. I've said this. She means well. She's not trying to be cruel. She thinks she's helping.
I don't think she
at
is.
At all times.
I don't think she's trying to be cruel.
No, she's not.
But it is like they're looking down on people a lot, and I didn't like that.
Because they have privilege and they don't realise it. But we realise compared to, say, Elton. Don't you know who my father is?
Yeah,
Cher never said like that.
Who's the other female character, the sort of antagonist who keeps popping in and out that she doesn't like with the short fringe? Amber, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, so you can
see that there's other horrible characters, and way more horrible than what they are. You know, it was like watching a softened version of the plastics. Looking down on
because
people.
At no point are we supposed to be on board with the plastics. We are seeing
No.
Mean Girls is Katie's film.
Yeah.
Clueless is Cher's film.
No, but this is like, if you made a softened version of the plastics and told the film from the point of view of the plastics and how they look at the world,
and if they
that's
go
how
through
I
a journey.
presumed it.
Well, I just think this is a satire. It's a satire on all of the rom-com, the high school elite Beverly Hills teens we've seen on screen before now. 90210 is absolutely what I recognise as being satirised here, but there are other things as well, presumably in American television at the time as well. So for me, it's a comedy because they're taking the piss, like Amy Heckerling is taking the piss out of that sort of thing by having this bunch of people who are so elitist and so privileged, but they are the heroes of our story, and they do go on journeys. Cher definitely goes on a journey. By the end, she is a changed woman.
And this is where I pointed out, maybe I came at this at the wrong age, at the wrong time, because it's a film stuck very in the 90s, and I probably might have appreciated it more if I watched it younger.
You must be able to see now, yes, of course it's of its time, but you must be able to see now that it is a satire and a comedy. They're not asking you to really think that it's okay to think someone should change their clothes to fit in. Yeah,
of course I can see it's a satire, of course I can see it's a comedy, but it just, from my own personal perspective, I find it was just not what I thought it was going to be. And the
what
character,
did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was just going to be more of a rom-com. It was going to be like quite sweet.
It is a rom-com and it is sweet.
It wasn't for me. And
Why?
That's the thing.
What did you? Give me a film you thought it was going to be like.
I didn't like the group of friends. I just like I said earlier on in the podcast. I wasn't sure I was meant to like these people or not. They're just so self-absorbed. I love that you love it. It just wasn't for me.
Well, in 2010, The Guardian called it the 21st best comedy movie of all time. And they pointed out, and this is one of the things in this article was brilliant, and we'll put these articles in the show notes as well because they're really good references. They pointed out how teen slang really dates a movie. So what Amy Heckerling did was she made up her own teen slang.
Yeah.
And what I love is that slang has become part of like the lexicon. So for example, I do say as if all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody did before this film.
I didn't know that was where this comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
as if.
As if. I say it all the time. And what I've also realised is because I write young adult fiction, I've got teen characters that I'm writing. I make my teen character say as if a few times. And I know that I've got it from Clueless, but I also think, oh, I like how I'm perpetuating this made up thing. Because if you do put teen slang in that's real at the time, it dates it immediately. Yeah. So I've got a list of the slang. So Surfing the Crimson Wave, I use that still regularly. I mean, I know I opened the show with it today, the pod with it, but it's hilarious that I still say that all the time. Whole ass of the ladies, totally bugging when something's really annoying you and is frustrating. Jeeping, having sex in a Jeep. I used to have a Jeep. Way harsh. I use the word harsh a lot. Taking a chance on an unknown kid. That's what Travis says in his speech.
See, this just like what irritates me, like stuff like that.
A total Betty, somebody who's beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah, I use that. I use that all the time.
It's so funny. The other thing is, whenever I use the word sporadic, I think of this film because of Cher teaching Ty to use a new word every day, sporadic. So yeah, the other thing that is interesting. So when I watched this for the first time, I had no issue with Josh and Cher getting together. The narration tells us, Cher's narration tells us that Josh was her stepbrother for a short time, some years ago. Her dad was married to his mum. So the impression is that they were both old, well past childhood. Yeah. They were related through marriage for 3 or 4 years, and then they were no longer related. And they still see each other, but that's like not very often. The internet, or the modern day internet, Gen Z, does not like this storyline because I've seen articles where it says trigger warning for incest. And I want to point out to every single one of those articles, this is not incest. Yeah. It is not incest.
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you. Just double checking that we are on the same page.
We're on the same page with that. Good. So for me, the journey of her coming to realise she liked him, like Josh, and getting with Josh, it didn't feel like it was pushed enough. She didn't have any, I'm trying to think of the word, any sort of perils along the way where it wasn't going to happen, it was going to happen.
She felt wretched.
For like about half a scene. No, but for half a scene. No, yeah, but in...
It's not like a big, huge exploration of inner psyche. This is a rom-com, a teen rom-com.
No, I get that, but there should be some kind of like, oh no, if this doesn't happen, I won't be able to get with him. It was none of that. It just didn't feel like she earned it for me to get with him at the end. And that's a personal thing. I might have to multiple watchings of this movie, get it in a completely different way.
For me, this is one that you can watch a million times. It's silly, it's good. You pick up little new bits every time, bits of language or bits of phrasing. I love it. Yeah. Anyway, I also read another piece, and this was, again, it was written, I'm not going to make up when it was written, but it was quite recent. It wasn't from the 90s anyway. Somebody had written a kind of academic exploration of Dion and Murray's relationship in terms of representing black characters, because there isn't a lot of multicultural characters here.
My woman.
Yeah, this is the bit. So someone had looked at whether or not they were good representations of black characters, and their argument was a bit, I thought they were at the time, but now I'm not sure. And it was a black writer who'd written it. And they were saying, I loved this film, I loved it at the time, I loved it when I was a teenager. But Dion and Murray, there's a reference early on where Cher says something about, when they're kind of arguing on and off, Cher says something about referring to them as Ike and Tina. And then so this writer has said that, hang on, Ike and Tina it was an abusive relationship, and we knew that at the time when this was made. And Maury and Dion are not in an abusive relationship, they just bicker.
Isn't it always hinted that he's like cheating or with somebody else?
No.
He had a hairpiece in his car.
I think that was that.
When he was at the bar or something, someone was chatting to him. It was as if he was. It's like hinted at. It wasn't like pushed in your face or anything, but it felt like it was hinted at quite a bit.
But in this piece, this woman was writing saying, to refer to Ike and Tina when actually you're just talking about a bickery relationship.
Yeah.
That's really, the only reason that line is there is because they're black. It's nothing to do with their actual relationship, it's to do with the fact they're a black couple. So that's maybe too, like, far.
Yeah,
from a white writer.
It was a standout thing where it was like, ooh,
yeah, it does
really?
feel a bit like that's not cool these days. And then the other bit which she wrote, which I really enjoyed reading about it, her exploration of it, was when Dion tells Maury to quit calling her woman, right? Yeah. His response, I've got it written here. Street slang is an increasingly valid form of expression. Most of the feminine pronouns do have mocking, but not necessarily misogynistic undertones. And so she'd said how the writer had said, I loved this when I was a teenager. This was brilliant how he was able to just come back with it. And it's really cool. But then she's now later writing about it saying, yeah, but actually the character's not going to say that. And that was Amy Heckerling, the white woman, writing it, putting words into a black character's mouth that sound far too white, and it just feels like they're not serving the character well. So therefore, the black characters are not great representations of black people. This was the woman's argument in the piece. It was a really good piece. I'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was realistic for him to say it. Well, it stood out to go, what?
It's funny at the time.
It is funny at the time, but he's pushed down to be a certain type of character in one way, and then all of a sudden comes up with this highly intellectual stance on why he's called her my woman.
I mean, I think the point
and then it was like, what?
The point that the writer made was that, at the time, you're like, oh yeah, cool, this is great representation because you're showing you that you can articulate this really valid argument, this academic argument. But actually, maybe looking back, that's not realistic. And so, it was an interesting piece. I think it's worth it. It was an exploration. There was no kind of
so maybe
judgment at the end of it.
Maybe, obviously, with the film, now, me coming at it from a perspective of watching it in 2025 with no expectations of it, maybe it hasn't aged as well if you haven't seen it. Where you've seen it multiple times, so it is a favourite film. And, obviously I have films which I really, really like that you're going to come across and go, oh, what the hell?
I think you're taking it too seriously. I think that seems to be what you're giving me off here, that you're trying to look for some more meaning in it than there is. I think it is quite
I just wanted an enjoyable film, and I just didn't enjoy it as what I thought I would, and I possibly would have enjoyed it more if I'd have watched it maybe in the 90s.
This is defo female gaze. Female gaze. It's written by a woman. The three main characters are women. The men are secondary. Is that why you've got a problem? I'm joking.
I haven't touched my feminine side.
But I do like that, and I think I probably really liked that at the time as well, because if you think about it, this was 1995, and I think it was 99 that we had American Pie, and that came out. Now that was absolutely not female gaze. That was very much made from a male perspective for boys. I watched it and I remember enjoying it at the time, but I look back now and think, what on earth is going on with this? Why was this so cravenly aimed at titillating boys? It's kind of pathetic. That's a film I would never go back and watch now.
So interestingly on this, I spoke to a friend about this movie and she was like, oh my god, it's such a good movie. I spoke to daughter number one about it and she was like, oh, it's a good movie. Maybe it is aimed more at females than it is at males.
Or maybe men can watch it if they're able to open their mind slightly and accept that some films with female characters are just as valid as ones with male characters. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, there's a subtle dig. I think, like I say, I wanted to like it, I just didn't, and it's a shame. I like, the characters. I wanted them to be more than what they were, and I wanted them to have more of a journey to change, and I just feel like it was just shortchanged in how quick that happened. It was just like snap your fingers and then, oh, I'm a different person, and I just felt like it should have been pushed throughout the movie more. Again, from my own perspective, multiple people probably screaming at this now, going, "You are so wrong." And
there'll be an army of people screaming at this.
Fair point. But as I say, I'm coming at it from 2025, and
so am I. The other piece that references stuff now is I read. It was from, I think, Refinery 29. There was an article. Actually, it's not from this year. It was from 2017, 2018. And it was looking at how, well, the headline is, Cher from Clueless gave us the perfect rallying cry against Trump's immigration ban. So, you know when she has to do the...
I suddenly love the film now.
You know when she has to do the debating class and she's arguing for allowing Haitian people to...
Yes, yeah.
Right. So I've got the quote. Mr. Hull says, should all oppressed people be allowed refuge in America? Amber will take the composition, Cher will be pro. Cher, 2 minutes. And what I like, first of all, I like that she pronounced it Haitians. Haitians, that's quite funny. So it's clearly like, it's not... I read on IMDb trivia that Alicia Silverstone didn't know how to say it, but they kept it in because it's funny. So I'm going to read the whole thing. It's going to take less than 2 minutes. Cher says, so, okay, like right now, for example, the Haitians, she says Haitians, need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain in our resources? But it's like when I had this garden party for my father's birthday, right? I said RSVP because it was a sit-down dinner. But people came that like did not RSVP. So I was like totally bugging. I had to haul ass to the kitchen, redistribute the food, squish in extra place settings. But by the end of the day, it was like the more the merrier. And so if the government could just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we could certainly party with the Haitians. And in conclusion, may I please remind you that it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty. And she sits down to rapturous applause. What I love is that, okay, this is comedy, it's silly, it's highlighting Cher's slight vacuousness about, you know, the ease of rejigging a few things. But it shows that she means well. And okay, she's been told to argue for, not against, so also that's not, But she does it so easily. She doesn't like read off notes that she's written. She just speaks with a real life anecdote that shows her how she could do something. It shows that deep down she's a decent person. She's just been born in a very privileged way that maybe has clouded some things. And I love the fact that, you know, there are think pieces online about how this is like Trump's immigration ban. And, you know, as of the current political situation, which I'm sure we're not going to get into in a light-hearted podcast. It fits in very well. It fits in very well. And I think that ultimately shows me that Cher is a decent person. She means well. She goes on a journey. I think I rooted for her. I can see that she's silly and vacuous and fashion obsessed and not saying the right things at the right time to the right people. But I think she's harmless ultimately, and I think she's a decent person.
I don't think she was threatening or maliciously horrible to anybody. It was just...
She's patronising at times, but she's not cruel. That's the way I'd say it. And the patronising is from her own... Just her own experience has not given her the insights, maybe. But she ultimately changes, and that shows she becomes a better person. She goes on a journey. She is the hero of our story.
I'm sure you have much fun watching this tonight going, Phil is wrong.
Oh, well, I know you're wrong. I don't need to watch it again to be proven that. My last question was, did you enjoy it? But you told me that you didn't, so there's literally nothing else to say about that.
It's one of them, possibly if I watched it again, it might grow on me. It wouldn't put me off watching it again. You know, and I've enjoyed this conversation about why I'm wrong and you're right, or I'm wrong and you're right.
The first way you said it was right.
So I've enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully this has made a good podcast. And I will say, genuinely didn't like it. It's not just for the sake of the podcast.
But despite all of that, and you've said, you know, oh, maybe if you'd watch it again, and you're giving yourself caveats as to where you might enjoy it in the future, would you recommend it to anybody? Is there someone who you think, oh, you would love this? Or do you think it's irredeemable?
But to be honest, I think most people that I spoke to had already seen it, and I was the one who this.
I'm shocked you hadn't seen it, considering your, you know, era and vintage.
Yeah. But so it is.
Okay, well, on that bombshell, we need to call it a day. Next week it's your turn to choose the film, and have you decided what it's going to be?
Yep, all I'll say is 100% sure you probably won't have heard of it.
Oh God, okay. Great.
And if more people want to find you, where can they find you?
I'm at nickybond.com, or you can just Google the Lisa McAuliffe stories. How about you?
And I'm at Toffees R Us on YouTube.
Cool, thanks for listening. See you next time.
Thank you, and we'll see you later.
I cannot believe you do not like Clueless. I am shocked.